um, um, will edit out a comment in a paper that says, in my opinion, because you're writing the paper. I'm not doing this mini lecture, so obviously it's my opinion, but I'm not asking any of you scholars to accept what I'm putting out. I'm just asking you to listen to it as another perspective on the ideas of happiness and service. So let's get back to Arthur Brooks and his perception on the subject. He talked about the belief that happiness is under your control, and that you need to not look for external validation, but validate yourself. You look at the world without so much judgment of yourself as you evaluate what is going on in the world. The habits can be generated that will increase your happiness by a conscious effort. And if you choose gratitude, that's a good start. Again, Arthur Brooks' thoughts on this. One of his exercises was to list 5 things you're grateful for and review those every Sunday. And at the end of a month, you'll be happier. His concept of emotional substitution. When he looked at the definition of happiness, he labeled that as a couple different components: enjoyment, which is not the same thing as pleasure, your purpose and meaning, and your satisfaction. And it was interesting to me when he talked about satisfaction that it's biologically, we're biologically wired not to be satisfied, because being satisfied results in homeostasis, and if we maintain homeostasis, we would eventually die, because we wouldn't crave to get out of bed, get something to eat, get something to drink, because we're satiated, we're satisfied. Therefore, we don't need to fuel ourselves. And then he talked about exploring happiness, and this was in his personal TED Talk that he gave. I think it was TED Talk Kansas City. And the key takeaway from that was the equation of haves divided by wants, that we often manage our haves, but we really need to manage our wants, because that is the denominator divided into the halves would maximize our satisfaction. And then finally, what is satisfaction? He talked about a combination of faith, family, friends, and work. So when I listened, and when I read the book, and when I listened to the videos, watched the videos, I said, well, hey, if a doctor at Harvard can come up with his ideas on happiness, surely a professor at Nichols College can. So that's what I'm going to talk about now. I'm going to give you some of my ideas, again, from my perspective on happiness. And let's start with how I got to this idea. So this is a picture of me and my daughter in 1988. This was taken from the porch of a house I lived in Nanjari, Korea. My wife took the picture, and it's with a telescopic lens. I was in a rice field by the house, in a rice paddy. And I used to have the habit of taking my daughter out to the rice paddy or outside, and I was always put her on my shoulders. It was just easier to carry her that way. And it became a really fun habit and ritual and experience that we shared. And for years and years and years, not many, I guess, from age 2 until about maybe 5, I carried her on my shoulders often. And it's a metaphor for a lot of things that then happened in the future. So that was in 1988. Now, flash forward, what's that, 31 years? In 2019, here's my daughter's daughter, my granddaughter, Paris, and we're at the Rice Tree Farm getting ready to pick out a Christmas tree. And again, now carrying the tradition forward, 31 years later, Paris was on my shoulders for a number of years. And I continue to do that so often that my wife, God bless her, Liz, gave me a Christmas present in 2020, which was a collection of all the pictures of Stephanie, my daughter, and Paris, my granddaughter, on my shoulders. And this was on the through Shutterfly. She made this great gift for me and put shots of all the times that I carried her on my shoulders. So again, one of the fun things that Paris used to do is to throw her hands on in front of my glasses, and she had a great giggle out of the fact that I couldn't see, and I would fake and pretend that I was stumbling and falling left and right because she was covering my eyes. So happiness. When I think of happy times, it was with my daughter and my granddaughter on my shoulders. And then, of course, happiness with my family. And this is a family shot a year later in 2021 in the summertime where we all got together. I forget why, but some family occasion. And, if you go around the group here, each of us have their strengths. Each of us have our strengths and each have our differences in our problems, to include Rosa Parks, which is the dog in the front of the screen. So everybody's got their pluses and everybody has their negatives, but this is our family, and a family that's blended. I was married before, my wife was married before, and the children, they all had several different relationships, not marriage partners, but they've all had their strengths and their weaknesses with different people they've met, but now they've settled into a great relationship with the ones that you see on the screen here. So when I look at my components of happiness, the first one that I definitely want to include is family. And we've heard it said that you can pick your friends, but you can't pick your relatives, right? So very true. The family that we're born into, it provides us with our biological wiring, our DNA blueprint for success. And I'll emphasize success versus anything else. We're predisposed by our family with certain physical characteristics, emotions, and behavior. Try as I might like, I was never going to be an NBA basketball player because my father was 5'9" and my mother was 5'6". Nobody in my family, grandfather, my dad's mom's side were significantly tall. So I was never going to be height-wise, gifted with vertical inches, right? So my family provided my DNA makeup. Our families are history, right? And in turn, your life and our lives are part of the family legacy that we leave behind. So ideally, when things work right, your family's your home base, your support crew, your first fan club. So I'm going to say the first component of my happiness is family. Well, let's talk about the second component. I'm going to say love or passion. On the upper right-hand corner, I have a love for ice cream, soft served ice cream, vanilla ice cream. And 69 years old, I've literally traveled around the planet searching for the ideal vanilla ice cream cone. It's my passion, right? My love. And I found it. It's in Woodstock, Connecticut, at a place called Buck's. B-U-C-K, Buck's Ice Cream. And if you haven't done so, make a journey to Buck's Ice Cream. It's part of a ritual now. Paris, my granddaughter there, the little girl that I was carrying on my shoulders, no longer. We go at least once a season, and we get our soft serve ice cream cone. Of course, I love the Pittsburgh Steelers, and a big fan of music, and love my wife, my life partner in the upper left-hand corner. Liz and I went to see Sting and Peter Gabriel in a Rock and Scissors concert way back when. Lower left, Jack White, another musician I admire and have seen often. I'm trying to learn the piano, love good action movies, and I love ideas. I'm passionate about ideas. So my ritual often is to late night YouTube, and I will search through YouTube just on things that interest me. I'll spin down that rabbit hole, and One of my favorite podcasters to listen to is Lex Fridman. Recently, I saw the Elon Musk interview. So the second part of my formula for happiness, my components of happiness, is love. What do you love? And surround yourself and engage in that with love. And that could be a person. I talked about my wife, Elizabeth, your significant other. It could be a hobby, music, sports, art. Here's a challenge that I'll put out to you. Starting soon, let's say 1 January, journal your life for a month, 30 days. Just take 30 days. Write down how you spend your days. How much time do you spend on social media, watching TV, reading, working, sleeping? Try to be as detailed as you can. That's the important part of this exercise. And track your life for 30 days. And then go back and reflect and review what you wrote down. You may find that what you proclaim as your passion, your family's your passion, your art's your passion, sometimes that doesn't align with how you really spent your time. So reflect on that. And if needed, make a change. All right, the next component is awe. And I've been blessed in the military. I traveled a lot. I've been to 5 out of the 7 continents. I still have Africa and Australia to go, but I've been to Antarctica, and I've been to Europe and South America, et cetera, et cetera. And I've seen some really wonderful sights of nature, just awe-inspiring, take your breath away, make your jaw drop. And that has given me such great pleasure, the awe of nature, and likewise the awe of what men and women can do, the beauty that we can construct when we set our mind in a real positive direction. So the Taj Mahal in the center top, and the White House below, the beautiful flower garden in Dubai, and the art of from artists and sculptures. I'm a big fan of good sculptures. So the next component is the awe component. What inspires you? What gives you time for pause? What makes you wonder? What takes your breath away? What makes you realize that you are a small part of something much bigger? Do yourself a favor and seek that wonder. Try to add awe to your life. All right, the next component, you've been very studious, and you've applied yourself at this executive MBA program. I'm pretty sure that all of you are going to graduate with an A, and you've earned that A. You've done a lot of great work with it. And I hope you find that A validates your performance. It's a small pat on the back, right? It's an award. And that validation is so important. I'm going to credit my wife with giving me the idea of the importance of validation, because she's told me now for a number of years, for more than 20, more than 30, that I've known her since I was 18, so more than 40, that validation is important, right? Validating the other person. Everybody wants to feel important and needed. In the lower left-hand corner, those 2 lovely ladies on the far left with the Fiend football sweatshirt, that's my Aunt Vicky, God rest her soul, she's passed about 6 years ago. And my mom is in the Army raincoat, bless her soul, she passed about 2 years ago. But those 2 women, Aunt Vicky and my mom, Mary Samborowski, they validated me often, continuously. They told me how wonderful I was, and how happy I made them feel, and how successful I was, et cetera, et cetera. And they were my biggest fan club. And I remember when I did not get accepted into the Air Force Academy out of high school. My mom cried because of it. And she said, well, they just don't understand. Do you want me to write them a letter? And so I said, no, Mom, I think that's fine. It's okay. Validation in the center, a story that always makes me feel good is I had the opportunity to coach that good-looking guy in the center of the screen, Ryan Tully. And Ryan was a football player at Bishop, and he was a captain on the team. He was also an honor graduate from the school. Uh, you know, I like to say, Tully was one of those guys that you just wanted to be around because he was so driven and so successful. He went on a small achievement and went to Harvard, and he was the captain of the team. And while he was at Harvard, decided to go into the Marine Corps Officer Training Program. And he remembered the days when I worked with him coaching football. And, I gained as much from his presence as much more than he ever gained from mine. But he invited me to his commissioning ceremony at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. And it was just a wonderful validation that whatever I had said or my interaction with him was significant and important. So the next part is the validation. Here's a request I'm going to make. Again, I'm full of requests tonight. Think about those people in your life that make you a better person. And in the next 48 hours, call or write them and tell them that they matter, that they make your heart smile. Do that. You'll feel better about it, and they will love it. Okay. Big group of people here. I'm not going to go into too much details other than to say people matter, right? People matter, friends matter, the community you're with matters. Let me read from the words of Kurt Vonnegut. In 1999, Kurt Vonnegut, one of my favorite authors, was speaking at the commencement at Agnes Scott College in Decatur, Georgia. And he offered the following: we all suffer from loneliness. We are lonely because we don't have enough friends and relatives. American society is collapsing because our extended families are too small. One person cannot be all to one person, no matter how much you love that one person. We need others. Know that when a husband and wife fight, it may seem to be about money or sex or power, but what they are really yelling at each other about is loneliness. What they are saying is, you're not enough people. This is Vonnegut talking. I met a man in Nigeria one time, an Igbo, who had 600 relatives he knew quite well. His wife had just had a baby. The best possible news in any extended family. My wife had a baby. They were going to take that kid to meet all his relatives, all 600 of them. Igbos of all ages, sizes, and shapes. The baby would even meet other babies, cousins not much older than he was. Everybody that was big enough and sturdy enough was going to be able to hold that baby, cuddle that baby, and the baby would hear how pretty or how handsome he was. Wouldn't you have loved to be that baby? Others, another important component of happiness. All right. We all make mistakes. Divorce, business failures, ugly arguments with our special people. We all experience failures. That's part of being human. It's okay to recognize the failing, but move on. Reset. Forgive yourself. Reset. The history of your past need not dictate your future. reset, the R. And then finally, this is not virtue signaling. I hope it doesn't come across about that, but I'm pretty serious about servant leadership and serving others. I'm going to quickly touch on an organization that I helped found a couple of years ago in 2009. It's called Luke Leaders 1248. I've mentioned it. Some of you have heard about this before, but it's a scholarship that is a nonprofit that raises money for scholarships for students, high school students that are committed to serving others. And so here's some examples of giving of the scholarship to a couple of the award winners. In the center is Bruce Sakindi. Bruce Sakindi. He is from Rwanda, and he's actually back in Rwanda now, and he's working in the government trying to help his country. But he was in Woodstock, Connecticut in school for a while, and he was one of my first scholarship recipients. So there's magic in serving others, in valuing the we over the me. I absolutely believe that. I believe that as we serve others, we gain much more than we give. I've experienced some really remarkable moments. I would call them coincidences, but I don't really believe in coincidences. I've had these remarkable moments after giving to others. So it's been tied in with the giving, where I receive something back. Here's some examples. A check from Amazon for a purchase overpayment I didn't know I had made. A larger than anticipated tax refund. A pledge from an unsolicited Nichols alumni for $10,000. And then my mother informing me about an unknown insurance policy my dad had took out when I was born. And again, each one of those weird karma events happened within hours or just a few days after a giving action on my part. It was as if the universe was balancing a spreadsheet, adding value to my cosmic account. So serving others is a most appropriate S for the flavor of happiness. It expands our family, it spreads love and adds to our passion. Service adds others to our team, and it validates our success. We have more than enough, and we intend to share it with those that don't. To paraphrase a biblical scripture, to those whom much is given, much is expected. So service, the final S on the flavor of happiness. Notice how that worked out? Flavors of happiness. All right, that's it. That's my my final mini lecture for Executive MBA 800. I ask you, as we get ready to graduate and move on with our lives, that you consider this group, this cohort, as part of your extended family, as this group of others. And I ask you to find your love, pursue your love, add awe to your life, validate others, reset, forgive yourself, reset, and serve. Thank you.